Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to episode 167. We've got a cracking guest for you today. We'll get to that in a minute. And Paul might join us at some point as well. Schrodinger's podcast host. But there you go. But before we get going and meet our cracking guest, James, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, very, very good indeed. Looking forward to talk to our guest today. I've not met him before, but I know you obviously connected and have great things to say. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It's just been a good week. Been working, been training. We've got the tactical strength challenge coming up at Unique Results, so kind of putting the final touches on that, and also finalising our Christmas social. So. That's kind of gone out today to get people to sign up. So everything's busy, everything's good. And working hard and looking forward to this.
Fantastic. Bloody love it. Excellent. Well, that was nice and short and sweet, which is great because this guy, has an amazing story. So I know this guy through a mastermind group that we're both part of. And I've been in that for just over a year. I think, Anthony, you've been in it for a bit longer, but it's you just see the people who develop through this group, and it's really amazing. And it's just taken another a different turn as well. And Anthony's story is really inspiring. And then seeing how much he's progressed, like in the year that I'm in, inspires me to want to do that as well. So it's really great. So without further ado, here is Mr. Anthony Flores. How are you doing?
What an intro. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Peter. Noticing me and just seeing the evolution that you've got to see the part of the last year or so with me. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of shocked of what I've done myself. It's awesome of what of the environment you insert yourself in. It forces you to grow.
Absolutely. I think from what I've seen, what is amazing is the way you are on social media as well. Is you get you put stuff out and you get there's so many people just hear your story and see the photos that you put out of who you used to be and who you are now and all that and how far you've come. And it's just the feedback just is amazing. And then you talk about the feedback you get when we're talking in partners and stuff like that. And it's just, you've got this magnetic personality that it would appear that people just want to be around you, which is fantastic. So,
I wish I had that superpower when I was 20 years ago.
The thing is, you did though, didn't you?
I did have it. Right. Exactly. Thank you for correcting me. I did have it, and I just didn't allow myself to showcase that superpower, but here I am, better late than never. But shall we start with
start wherever you like. I haven't asked you any questions yet because I don't know where to begin, because I mean you're like we say, your story is amazing. So just tell us a little bit about what you've overcome in life, because it's quite huge.
Well, I literally was at one point, right? So we'll get to that. So once upon a time, when I graduated from high school, I felt like everybody was winning around me, and I just felt like a complete loser, because all I saw was people going to college, enlisting in the military, getting married, get into the workforce right away, and there I am just sitting back. I don't know what to do, and I just felt like a complete loser for not knowing. I'm like, why is everybody else knows what they're doing? I don't. Do I not have a purpose in life? Do I not have a certain desire to just be something at all? And I was just a lost soul. at that time. It was very dark for me. Like over a course of time, I just had really bad habits. You know, I barely moved. I sat on the couch. I played video games. I had a pizza diet. I literally ate a frozen pizza every single day for the longest time. I didn't know any better. I wasn't taught, you know, what healthy actually is. You know, like for context, I'm Mexican. I was born here in the United States, but my parents are from Mexico, and you know, they didn't learn any health related topics along the way. They didn't really teach us anything. Always eat your frijoles, beans, eat your tortillas, and all the gummy Mexican stuff. And of course, if you eat quite a bit of that stuff often, you know, you're gonna get big.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And you know, I went up a flight of stairs one day, 14 steps to be exact. And once I finally reached up to the top, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. And it's not like I was running up the stairs. I was walking up the stairs. And when I got up there, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like, why can't I breathe? This is like, is this normal? Like, this can't be normal. And I'm like, what happened to me? And I've realized, it's weird to say it, but I realized I'm this huge, obese dude. I was a fat fuck, man. And I apologize for swearing. Like, I was 350 plus pounds. That's huge.
And how old were you at this time, Anthony? What kind of age
what
were
was
you?
I? So like, how old am I now? Like not 20. So I'm 38 today.
So I was just going to say, yeah, for people who are listening in the UK and stuff. So that's 25 stone.
I've just done that.
Or 160 kilos at 20 years of age. Yeah. So that's and how tall are you, Anthony?
5'10".
5'10". Okay. So yeah, fairly tall, but not like massively tall. You know.
Oh no, like
25 stone. Yeah, 25
yeah.
stone on a 5'10" is a big guy. Yeah.
Right. It's a big unit, shall we say?
Right. Yeah. Like I was barely walking through doorways, you know. So yeah. Once I got up there, I felt ashamed of myself. I felt, like I said, like I keep repeating this, like I felt like a complete loser. I really don't know how to explain it elsewhere. Like I am, like in the stories that I told myself after, I was like, I am going to live alone for the rest of my life, because who could possibly love someone like this besides my own mother? Like, right? I'm like, this is it. Like, I really don't know what to do, but I made a decision. I made a decision to join a gym, the YMCA, the very next day. Like, I didn't know what to do, to be honest with you. All I knew was I had to do something. I showed up to the YMCA with a hooded sweatshirt on, sweatpants on. Like, I went off of Rocky movies, man. Rocky 4 to be exact. Like, so that's my favorite one of the Rocky series. All I knew is you had to sweat, you had to run your ass off and just go. Just like following Rocky movies. I went off of like Men's Health magazines, you know, like anything that I could get my hands on. You know, like I was too ashamed to ask for help from anyone else. Like I didn't talk to anybody when I was at the gym. But when I went to the gym for the very first time, you know, of course it's a little intimidating at first for someone that's, you know, hasn't done anything. But I had this desire, just like, I need to do something. I really don't care. So I just put my hooded sweatshirt on, you know, pretend I'm invincible. And all you see is a bunch of pieces of cardio equipment. All the weight stuff is in the back of the room. And, you know, like I saw the treadmills and I saw people running their asses off. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. That looks way too hard. And I look at the bikes. I'm like, no, that looks way too easy. And I see this piece of equipment I've never seen before. It's the arc trainer. It's like an elliptical. I'm like, you know what? That looks pretty cool. I want to try that out. Jumped on, started working. And you guys want to take a guess how long I was on there?
Ooh, hang on, because I've got a story about a rowing machine. I was on for 8 minutes and I nearly died, and that was.
I bet probably less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to say less.
Okay, you know, all right, you know what? 9 minutes. And
Oh.
I'm proud of myself for that. 9
Yeah,
minutes,
that's
man.
good. Yeah.
I know. And like the resistance wasn't even that high either. I'm just like, whoa, it's like it was a big shock to my body and just like mentally too. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I getting myself into? I'm like, all this thoughts in my head. I was like, why do people do this for fun? I'm like, why do people do this every day? I'm like, this is dumb. And like I'm out of here. After those 9 minutes, I got off. I'm like, I'm gone. I'm leaving.
And
This is way too hard.
how long did it take you to go back after that?
It took me about a couple, like 3 or 4 days afterwards,
Okay.
because I had a really good conversation with myself. Like at the time I was called Tony. I didn't go by Anthony at the time. So like, Tony, you said you want to make a change, you want to have a better healthy lifestyle. And at the time I was having nephews and nieces into the world. Like I wanted to become a bigger brother figure to them. Like I wanted to play with them. I wanted to be on the ground crawling with them. I wanted to run with them. I wanted to ride the bikes with them too. I wanted to be the cool uncle. Like I'm like, and most importantly, I wanted to date hot women at the time. Like being a 20-year-old, who doesn't?
Exactly.
Hey, unless you're a billionaire, millionaire, hot chicks aren't gonna want to be around you, man. So yeah, that's the honest truth. So I'm like, you know what? I gotta go. I need to keep going. I need to show up for myself, because that's what like Rocky would do. He just kept going. He just running up that mountain. I don't have mountains, but I got an arc trainer to keep on climbing. And over a course of a year, like I got to meet some awesome people in the gym. Like I was even introduced to like bodybuilders. They're like, hey, I see you, man. Like you're doing a great job in here. Let me show you how to use the weights over here, because all I knew was just cardio. And my friend is Eric. I always have to shout him out. Eric, he's like, I have so much respect for you. Like I saw you the very first time when you walked in here, and I'm like, whoa, that is a big dude, and he is running hard every single time he's in here. And like with the help along the way, I lost like 100 pounds in that first year. And it is day and night, man, on what I was then and what was at that time after a year.
Yeah.
People noticed me. I'm like, whoa, this is magical. I felt like I made it in life, man. Like I had a girlfriend, beautiful girlfriend. I had friends. I was more social. I wasn't as shy anymore. It was just amazing. Like people started noticing me. I'll never forget the very first time when this woman came up to me and say, hey, you're pretty cute. I'm like, are you talking to me? I'm like, oh wow.
You're like looking around.
I'm like, oh my God, are you talking to my friend? I'm like, wow. I mean, like I said, Dan, even it smells different. Body odor, like stuff like that you don't consider. Like it is completely different. I don't stink as much anymore.
Here's the thing though. Did you ever put yourself in situations for people to actually say that to you when you were bigger? Because it might not necessarily be because you got smaller or because you lost 100 pounds. It might be just because you looked like you felt better about yourself. So it didn't really matter what you look like, and you put yourself in situations where people might be able to tell you those sorts of things. Do you think that was part of it?
Perhaps. Yeah. I mean, perhaps. I used to just like not do anything or go anywhere at the time, because like I was ashamed of myself. Like, why would I show myself to the world?
Yeah.
Like, because like being at that state, when I did present myself to the world, I would just get made fun of.
Yeah.
And people would just call me names that are very hurtful. Like at one point, like people, I did not have a neck. I'm proud of my neck that you can see today. Like they used to call no neck Tony. I'm like, why the hell would I go out if people are going to call me that? Or like just poke you in the stomach like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I don't want that. Like it's frustrating because I was trying to make a change at the time. I'm just gonna hide for a little bit. So yeah, I was like, it sounds different, it looks different, it feels different. I felt like I was winning. Because in order to win, you need to know what losing feels like. And I know what losing felt like.
Yeah. So what's interesting with that is as well, because you say like it's, going into the gym for the first time is an intimidating environment for somebody who's like you were. But, and kind of like people are making fun of you and stuff like that, but you go into the gym and the people who know, like, kind of know what they're doing and see you. It's like the whole thing, isn't it? I see you. We'll talk about that a lot within the partners group, but it's like they see what you're doing and they see that you're committed, so they want to help. So gyms can look like they're intimidating environments, but the majority of people in the majority of gyms actually want to help because they've possibly been there before, or they know what they're doing, and they know that people come in and do like a stupid amount of cardio, and it's like, well, that's fine, but if you try this as well, yeah, exactly. So it's
Yeah.
I love that. That's cracking. So what happened after that? Because obviously you lost. So over that year, you lost that £100, and you start to feel great. So that would have put you at what, 250, I think.
Yeah.
Which is like what, 18 stone or something like that. So so what happened after that to keep you going? What did you just?
So like
Where
I
does it end?
I
Where does it
lost
end?
additional no, I was like I said, I felt like I was living my best life. Like we didn't say that term at the time, but like to put it in terms today, I was living my best life. And like I lost additional weight I got down to like 210 at one point. And then God decided to test me, or a higher power, whatever it is you want to believe. I had a super sharp pain in my testicle. And for the life of me, I'm like, you know what, like this, I don't know what's going on, but it's gonna go away. Being a typical guy, I guess walk it off. But like it's gonna be fine. It's gonna go away in a couple of days. But it wasn't going away. And after about 5 days or so after experiencing it for the first time, the initial pain, like my workplace, I was working in a lumberyard, told me like, hey, you need to go see a doctor, man. Like you're not performing the way you usually do. You gotta go. And like my girlfriend at the time too, she's like, you need to go see the doctor today. We're taking you today. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay, let's go. It was a Friday evening. And I remember it so well. We went to the clinic, but it was closing at the time, and we kind of explained what we were doing, what was experiencing. Like, hey, like we can't really treat you here for that, but you need to go to the emergency room, and they'll take care of you there. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went to the emergency room. Like they did some tests on me, and they relieved my pain. I was like, well, cool, got some drugs in me. And they gave me two options of what could be the possible cause here. Like, Anthony, you have a twisted testicle, or you have testicular cancer. And I'm like, no way. There's no way I could have that. I convinced myself I had a twisted testicle. I'm like, people that have cancer are not healthy. This is what I thought at the time. Like, I'm healthy now. I've took care of myself. There's no way. Like like I said, I'm made in life. There's no possible. Like, why would God do this to me? Over the weekend, like I was still experiencing pain, and Monday was my follow up. Went in to the clinic to see the specialist, and I went there by myself, alone. Now I'm sitting here just as I am. You guys see me here, and doctor comes in, barely introduces himself, and he got straight to the point. He's like, Anthony, you have testicular cancer. And my heart just was crushed. I instantly started crying like a baby. I had my hands over my eyes just like this, just crying my eyes out for like a solid minute. It probably felt like an hour. And I looked up at him and I asked him, am I going to die? And I like, I shouldn't be asking myself this question I was 21 at the time. I shouldn't be asking myself that question. After all that I'd done, I felt like it was just a waste of time. I'm like furious with the world. And I was mad at God. I was just mad at everybody. I'm like, this can't be. But the doctor's like, no, you're not going to die, but we need to like address this really soon. But of course, being in denial. I'm like, no, I am going to get a second opinion. And like when I drove back home after the appointment, I was just crying my eyes out, couldn't in disbelief. And I went straight to my girlfriend at the time and just told her, like, I have cancer. And I just like, all she did was just hug me. She couldn't say anything. And I'm like, just like almost like in my head, just begging me, like, just please tell me I'm gonna be okay. Sorry, like I could just feel being at that state again. It was just horrible. And like telling my family and friends, like, guys, I have cancer. I don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm gonna be okay. You know, like I went down to Frederick Hospital, which is an hour south of me in Milwaukee, and saw a specialist there. He said, Anthony, you do indeed have cancer. The only difference is I would have taken you into emergency room right away and just got the procedure done. And I'm like, okay, I accept it now. I'm gonna go back home and take care of this. And you know, when I was going through recovery and people were visiting me, something that really stood out and bothered me was seeing people's faces as if they weren't going to see me again. Because to be like 20, like what is it now, 17 years ago, cancer was really scary. I mean, it is today. Then it felt like a death sentence. And you just don't know how to respond to that when someone tells you I have cancer. Like today, it's crappy to say, like, oh, it's a common thing to hear now. And you're like, thankfully, we have the technology to address it really quick and get the person healthy or give them a better chance of survival. But then it's like those faces just stuck with me. I'm like, I am going to be okay. I'm going to come out of this way better, so much better. And I was going through the recovery process. I was, of course, in my feelings. I couldn't move. I couldn't move for like 4 weeks due to recovery. I was missing the gym. I was having all these thoughts in my head. I was in this obese state again. Like, you're a loser. You're going to lose your girlfriend. You're going to not have any friends anymore because they think you're like you have cancer, like you're a diseased person now. I'm gaining weight again. I'm reverting back to who I was. And I just made a decision, man. I'm like, I was prepared for this. I was here before, and I can do it again. I am not going to be a victim of this. And like another thing too that I thought of was like, no woman's going to ever want to be with you again because you have one testicle. Like, what are they going to think of you? Because are they going to think like you're less of a man now? I'm like, all these thoughts, I'm like, I need to get out of here. Okay. But I promised myself, I am not going to let this define me. And as soon as I got the green light to go to start moving, guess where I went? I went straight to that gym. I'm like, not because I wanted to lose weight again, but because I know how I felt like when I was in there and when I got out of there, empowered. And I felt like a winner. I'm like, and I was alone at the time again because everybody's working during the day, and like I'm like, I need to go around. I need to be in that environment again, surrounding myself with winners. But then I kind of had to stop because I had to go through radiation treatment. They actually advised me at the time, you should save your energy and stop going to the gym. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Today, they don't tell you that. And I have to take credit for this reason. So, I was going through treatment. I'm like, no, like, even though I don't have the energy, like it, to go as hard as I want to, I'm still going to show up anyways. I'm not going there for PRs. I'm not going there for anything like tremendous. I just want to move. I want to be around that environment again. I want to be around those people because they lift me up. And I didn't even, like, to be honest, I didn't even tell people at the gym I had cancer for the longest time because I was ashamed. Like, I don't want people to think of me any less than me. They're just asked, like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it today, but I'm here. So like I was going through radiation treatment, they would weigh me in every single day, and they noticed like this trend of me losing weight. They're like, Anthony, are you going to the gym? I'm like, yep. I guess I am. Yeah. You're like, you're losing weight quite a bit. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm eating better. And I'm moving more. Imagine that. They're like, we're asked, like, like we asked you to like save your energy, right? I'm like, I know. I'm still here, and that's fine. And I still have enough energy just to, if I can go to work, I can go to the gym. It's fine. I'm cool. I'll get enough sleep. I'll focus on the things I can do. And after a certain time, I just got sick of them asking me or telling me, hey, stop going to the gym. Because at one point I was like, once the way they laid it out is like, I'm laying on this cold, hard medical table with the team around me, exposing myself to the world in there. It's super uncomfortable before they zapped me. And a nurse came up to me as I'm laying there. She's like, hey, Anthony, why do you keep working out when we ask you not to? And I turned to her and I said, because I want my life back. I want my life back. That's why. And she was wearing a mask, and you could just see her cheeks rise up. And she's smiling, and she's like, just nod her head, and she said, okay. And then from there, they just like stopped asking me. I'm like, thank goodness. like, stop it. Yeah, like I want my life back, man. I'm like, at the time too, Lance Armstrong was the man at the time, conquering the Tour de France, like what he's did then was, wrong. But at the time, he gave me this belief, this purpose of like, if he can do it, I can do it too. Not necessarily do Tour de France, but I can do my own thing. That's all I needed. Someone to inspire, empower me without even seeing them or meeting them in person. I'm like, that is so cool. That's power. And like after radiation was done, back in shape again, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try and do endurance events, kind of like Lance did. Like I started with like 5Ks, and I got up to 10Ks. I got to a half marathons. I did a full marathon, and I was pretty good at these things. I think like my best half was like an hour 28 or so. Like people was like, how did you do that? Like I ran. I don't know. like a train. I had this again like that Rocky, like that. If you ever guys watch that movie Rocky 4 when he's training in Russia, it's like that is like the most inspiring thing in the world. And with the music in the background, like hearts on fire, burning desire, you know what I'm saying? That's what I just kept replaying in my head. I'm like, I want to be like that. I was like, created this like movie inside my world. Like my imagination is just wild. It's a superpower of mine. And honestly, that's how I've accomplished a lot of things in my, I'm like all of it, to be honest with you. I've accomplished a lot of things in my life, from overcoming obesity to cancer to endurance events to, like business wise. It's all the power of imagination. I'm like, I want to be that person. And like once I got done with like the running scene, I'm like, I'm kind of bored with this now. I want to try something new. So I got into triathlons. Like I did the sprint distance, I did like Olympic, and I even did a full Ironman too. And I was kind of good at that too. I was actually got to participate in, or compete, not participate. I got to compete in the USA age group national championships. Now I'm like, what an honor! That is so cool. And I got to compete in the world championships as well. I'm like, unbelievable. That is so cool. Like I didn't realize at the time, but like now today I see it. But people would ask me like, then, like, Anthony, do you have any idea like what you've like done? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, you've overcame obesity, you went through cancer, and now like you're this like superstar athlete. I'm like, I don't really know what you're trying to say here. I just did things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like people like, that is very inspiring. Like you have no idea like how many people would just give up on themselves once they reach obesity, or like give up on themselves once they learn they have cancer. They just completely just stop. I'm like, I don't understand that. Like I cannot comprehend that. I'm like, why don't people love themselves just enough to fight back, to reclaim what's theirs, their life?
Anthony, can I ask about your family? You said the kind of Mexican heritage, and you were very overweight kind of growing up, and it kind of hit the pinnacle when you were kind of about 20, and you had that kind of epiphany, and then that, I suppose, almost that hit rock bottom when you got to the top of the stairs and made that decision. Since you've totally changed your life, and you've gone through everything you've gone through, and like you say, you went into endurance and triathlon and reached really high levels of this stuff, what's the kind of relationship with your family like now? Have you what do they think about what you've done, and has it helped inspire other people around you, or have you very much done this on your own, and you're kind of like a lone wolf, if you like, and a standout within your family? I mean, I'm just really interested in how this massive change must have been seen and affected those around you.
No, that's a great question. Then, yeah, it's like we weren't very much an active family. Like my two older sisters were, like in high school they did track or cross country, but nothing really came out of that. And like I was inspired by them to like, what, if they can run, I can run too. Like when I was obese, but yeah, it's as far as like how this impacted my family, I'm gonna say I broke a generation of bad habits. I set the standard of what, my last name being Flores, of what this family should stand for. What should we be? Like, we are healthy individuals, we are powerful human beings. Let's show up like the champions that we are. Like after my sisters saw me doing these things, like they got themselves healthier too, to start eating better. Even my parents too, like to this day, like my dad goes to the gym now. He never went when he was an adult. It was when I grew up, never went to a gym, and now he's 75, rocking at the YMCA. Awesome. Like where I first started, because he's moving and grooving. So does my mom too. Like she does like swimming, aerobic exercises, and she loves it. And like I'm very thankful that they're still here. Like they're taking care of themselves so that they can be here for a very long time. And I want them to see all the things that I'll be accomplishing. And of course, it was like with my son, which is, by the way, a miracle, which I'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, it just set the tone of what healthy living should be like, instead of just going through the motions of, this is my heritage and this is what we do, and that's it. Like, well, we can still have that, but we can still make better decisions too along the way. And not just like my family, but friend groups, like in my community notices me. Like, people think highly of me here, and they think I'm inspiring. Like, I don't think my story is inspiring, to be honest with you. I see the power behind it, and that's why I'm sharing it more. And it's my responsibility to keep sharing the stories, because I want to be someone else's Lance Armstrong too. Like, without even realizing it. Like, I changed someone, like, I potentially I don't want to say saved, I changed their life to make better decisions. Like with like the community wise too, like people, like I was working at a factory at the time. Like I've had a friend of mine reached out to me. Hey, like I work at a health club here in town. Would you consider being a personal trainer here? And I'm like, really? Does it, like, that's really a thing? Because like off of movies and TV shows, like you see those things, but like, here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin at the time, like there's no way, there's no need for that. Like I live in a town where, beer, bratwurst, and cheese is the norm. Like that's what we live off of here. Like I'm like, you think people would actually want me to help them out? He's like, yeah, more than you know. And my first question was like, is it full time? Can I leave my factory work? He's like, most definitely. It's gonna take time, but we can make it happen. Like my manager's waiting for you. All you have to do is fill out that application online, and you're in. And I had that interview, and sure enough, I was hired right on the spot. And what was awesome was in this health club, like, you needed a degree. I didn't have that. He's like, but because I have this story of overcoming things, he's like, Anthony, people need you. What you've done is just remarkable. And we want you to be here to share that with our gym community. I'm like, wow. So it opened up doors for me to leave the factory, because I didn't like, I knew it was destined to become something more. I didn't just want to be in the line of just being a robot. I felt like I was getting dumber by the day every time I was in there. Like, no disrespect to anyone that's in the factory workforce. It's needed and it's awesome. Like, it's really easy to do. But I'm like, I want to be challenged to do something more and leave an impact on this earth, because I want to find my purpose. It's like I said in the beginning of this, do I even have a purpose in life? And like after getting let go from this gym, I was there for like a year and a half. I wasn't fully truthful with them that I had a personal training certification. So I was like, that's how desperate I was just to get out of the the factory. But I had a choice. Like, but to be fair, I was given a opportunity to earn it. I signed a contract to obtain it within 90 days, and on that 89th day, I went to go get my tests. I went to get the test done, but I failed by 4 points. And they're like, Anthony, we signed a contract. We're really sorry. Like, we have to let you go. And I'm like, damn it. And again, like, I felt like I hit rock bottom again. I started thinking, I'm going to go back to the factory, my life's over, so on and so forth. But like 2 weeks later, I went and got retested. I passed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can go back to the gym that I was working for. Like I called him up right away. I'm like, I got it. He's like, but the ball's in your court. I think you tell us what to do. And then I started to have this like conversation with myself. I'm like, you know what, man? Why should I limit myself to this gym when I could possibly help others? I'm like, why should I just be exclusive to just one area? And I got like opportunity. As soon as people found out I was let go from the gym, I had three companies reach out to me, small, medium, and a large one. Like, would you consider being our trainer here? I'm like, say less, sign me up. Like, I have a bigger reach to make an impact on people, and that was just wonderful. I loved it. And then I started thinking about people were getting those results, and they're like, well, how are you getting those results? Well, like our corporate trainer Anthony helps me out. Like, oh, that's a shame. I wish I worked there. And I started thinking again, like, what if I had my own gym? Like, why should I limit myself to just these companies? What if I expose myself to my city, my county? That way anybody has access to me. And I built a gym too. Like, I imagine all these things in my head. I'm like, what if I did? And I went with it. But of course, COVID happened. I ran a really awesome gym for 3 years. Best damn gym ever. But at the time when COVID hit, I had this realization. Like, people were telling me that lived outside of my area, different states, different cities. I wish there was a way for me to train with you some way, somehow. I'm like, wow. People would have actually do online coaching. People like, it wasn't big at the time as it is today. Like, people would actually tell me, you should consider online coaching. I'm like, nah, I want to focus on this, my gym. But of course, COVID hit. That changed everything. I'm like, I have no excuse now. This is the time. I have time to do this because everything was shut down. Like, let's go. And I made a decision to move on. And I'm like, I am limitless on who I can potentially help, coach, and empower the individual. And that's a tremendous feeling to say, I don't need to see someone in person in order to enhance their lives. And I haven't looked back since. Like, this is like one of the best things that's ever happened to me and my family. And like, speaking of family, I like I didn't think at one point in my life I was capable of being a dad, because I went through testicular cancer, had radiation and all that fun stuff. And I had a chance to find out if I was capable of being a father, but I did not want to know. I didn't want to have that burden of, just in case of I'm not capable of, because honestly, that would have destroyed me. Because I've always wanted to be a dad. Growing up with 4 sisters and a half brother, I wanted that huge family too. And like, my girlfriend, my wife now, 6 years ago, we had an awesome surprise. She said, I'm pregnant. And the very first thought in my head was like, is it mine?
Yeah, who's it?
I was like, wait, is it was, of course, she's super faithful. She's tremendous. But like, that's the first thought in my head. And I'm like, there's no way it's mine. Like, I don't think I can, because I have one testicle. There's like, chances are very low. And as soon as I found out that news, tears of joy, man. And I was just sitting on the couch, just happy and all hell. She's kind of freaking out, and she just goes upstairs and got takes a cold shower. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am going to be a dad. I'm a dad. I'm like, this is like winning. I am winning right now. And this is the best feeling in the world. I'm like, wow. Yeah, and like fast forward to the endurance stuff. Like I decided to get into functional fitness events too, particularly DecaFit and Hyrox. If you guys ever heard of that, like turns out I'm kind of good at that stuff too. Like when the very first race I participated in with Hyrox, I placed top 3 in my age category, and second one I participated in, I was number 2 in the nation in my age category, and which led to me going overseas for the very first time to Germany for the World Championships. And wow, that was like the best like event I've ever participated in. I felt like an elite pro. I showed up like one. I prepared like one. I literally imagined myself winning that thing. I felt so confident in myself. Like, I'm going to win. Showed up. I didn't win, but I did place top 5 though. And I was the very first American to finish. And I'm like, boy, again, and it's like reflection is like, you can't write this up. Like Disney can't write this story up. To go from 350 to cancer to being the very first American to finish in a world competition event and being a dad, but having a business. It's like, oh my gosh, I have a purpose in life and I'm here for it.
It's great. You just reminded me, this was a conversation we actually had, what did 2 days ago in Partners, wasn't it? About lagging. I think, and it was kind of the concept of lagging of everything that is happening right now is a product of everything you've done. So people don't just wake up having lost 100 pounds. You don't just wake up having got to 350 pounds, do you? You don't wake up in the morning and go, oh, what happened? What happened overnight? It's the process of what you've done beforehand. So where you're at now with everything you've just described there, in the way you've, like, honestly, we've been sitting there memorized. I'm like, what happened next? What happened next? But it's like the mindset behind all of that is amazing, because you're like, I want this, and here's what I need to do to get it, and I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to get inspiration from Rocky, and I'm going to, and Lance Armstrong, and all of those sorts of things. And then it's like, right, well, the next thing I want to do is become that inspiration. And then, it's that's why I love that story, because it's just so many knockbacks, but you develop the mindset. Because again, when you were talking about training people online, it's like, lots of people will say, you can get that and say, no, you need to be there when they're training so you can see how they're moving and all that. And it's like, if people are moving okay, it's not the movement and everything, it's the mindset behind it of just showing up. Mm-hmm. And then if you can inspire people to do that with your story and everything that's happening, then I mean, like, there's no end, is there? There's nobody who can't do this stuff, and we spoke to Louise last week. We spoke to a lady last week. It was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And she's no legs, no limits. She had meningitis when she was 2 years old and pretty much had all her limbs cut off. And she's still, I can do anything I want. She climbed a mountain, last week.
Amazing.
And it's those sorts of things. It's that sort of mindset that people can get behind, can't they? Like, why can't I do that? And it's like, well, you can, because I couldn't, but I did. So I think that's amazing. And the thing you were talking about like the family stuff, when James asked, it reminded me of Dave Whitley, who we had on, who said, there was a history of type 2 diabetes in his family and all of that sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, but there was a history of eating a lot a lot of pies and a lot of desserts and a lot of this and a lot of that, you know, and it's like, so you can look at it and say, well, I'm 350 pounds, but look at my family. They're not that fit and healthy. It's my genetics. And you've proven that it's not. So
Right.
honestly, I just think that whole thing of just that mindset of I can do this.
I think last week when we spoke to, I was just going to say last week when we spoke to Louise, and then this week, obviously speaking to you as well, Anthony, I think it's having the last week's episode, and I think this one as well, really helps. It really helps me, and I'm sure it helps other people as well. If they choose to look at it from the perspective that I'm kind of choosing to look at it, is because I'm not really a fan of this kind of, you know, you often see things online where they'll show like a 90-year-old doing something or someone with a disability, and they'll say, well, what's your excuse? You know, and it kind of almost is trying to shame someone into action.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like almost like, you know, bullying and like, well, what's your excuse? And it's kind of asking someone to explain themselves. But I think that just sometimes we all do it. We all kind of wake up one morning and we think, I don't really feel like training today, or I might just give it a miss. But I really find that listening to people like Louise and yourself, it's, you know, you guys have really faced, I suppose, the real potential of death, you know. And like you said, when you first got diagnosed with cancer, your first thing was, am I going to die? And you've just kind of attacked life and taken on so many challenges that when somebody who really doesn't have any reason not to do something and just maybe doesn't quite feel like it that day, it almost feels quite pathetic to actually just say, oh, I'm not going to train today because I don't feel like it. You know, it's kind of like that. Right. I find that it's so inspiring that, you know, and that does actually get me then, actually, I'm going to do it, because why not? Why wouldn't I? Because I've got the body and the ability, and I'm alive, and I've got the gift of life, and I've got the gift of health. Why wouldn't I express it and do something for myself and something energetic? So I think it's, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I didn't know your story before talking to you today, and it's been incredible, you know. And I love the fact that you've got your son now, you know, and I love that, you know. I think the whole story is incredible. So thank you so much for sharing it, you know.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Like it's something you said too, is like, you know, recognizing that we have a body, we're capable, you know, like being like gratitude that we're here. Like we're all here for a very reason, for a special reason. And we must show up every single day, despite how we feel, to do the simple things that makes us great. You know, like, because guaranteed you're going to feel better after that 20, 30, 45, 60-minute workout, whatever case may be. You're going to feel awesome. It's a matter of just changing the, you know, the physiological state. You know, like, I don't feel like it, but just like getting yourself to. I think that's like a lot of, I did, like, I was like, still do to this day on certain things, like of doing things that, you know, that really matter to get the result that you want. It's just like something I like to say too, is like, stop listening to yourself and start talking to yourself in order to get yourself going. You know, because we have all these things in our head, like why we should avoid it, why we shouldn't do it. And be like, you know, being alone for the longest time in that dark space, I had to command myself to get up, to go to the gym, to just, when I wanted to stop, I'm like, no, I actually talked to myself out loud. I'm like, no, keep going. 1 more minute, 30 more seconds, 1 more like quarter mile on the treadmill. Like, let's just go. I'm like, or last rep, best rep. I'm like, on my last one that I'm pushing. Like, just like I probably look like a crazy person at the gym. And that's why I have my own private gym, because I don't have to deal with that. So like, I talk to myself out loud often, you know, like whether it's not just working out, but like when I'm, you know, like working, you know, like when I'm generating ideas, and I'm pretty sure you guys do too, whether you want to admit it or not. Like there's nothing wrong with that. The only reason why I
I'll
started
openly
talking
admit it. I walk around when I'm walking the dog in the middle of a field, in the middle of a field, in the middle of nowhere. I'll be talking away, and someone will come out of nowhere and look, and they'll be like, "Oh, hello." They're like,
right, yeah.
Who are you talking to? I'm like, I
Right.
was talking to the dog.
Right, yeah,
Totally.
right, yeah.
Because
Right.
that. I mean, I sent you a message ages ago, didn't I? I put a thing together about like being resilient and all of that. And it was kind of like a little program for people to just send out here and there. And I've actually got that quote in it, or how I remember that quote of stop listening to yourself and start talking to yourself. And I saw James write it down. I think that is.
I've written that down. I'm going to share that later, and I'll tag Anthony in it. I love that. Yeah, that's
amazing.
so true. That is, yeah.
Because this is one of the things I've learned about. I mean, you know, we've been doing like mindset stuff for years and all that. It's all part of this, isn't it? And getting like physically stronger, mentally stronger, fitter, all of that. And the whole thing about the subconscious just at you all day long, talking you out of things that you don't even realize. And then that quote of just like, stop listening to that and just start talking yourself. Just start talking out loud. And then you hear it, you say it, you know, you hear it from yourself and you hear it internally as well. There's like a triple kind of feedback loop there, isn't there? And it makes a massive difference. It makes you look mad, absolutely, but who gives a toss? You've got to be, you know, it's the mad people who do well, isn't it? You know.
You know, like I saw a quote a long time ago. Yeah, like Albert Einstein talks out loud to himself, like he's a genius. I'm like,
yep,
say less. I'm going to start doing that too because I think I'm a genius too.
So here's a question for you. We'll have to wrap up in a bit, but here's a question for you. What happens next?
Me, as far as like what's the next thing for me?
Yeah, because you know, I know you a little bit, so I know there's more on the horizon. You're not stopping here, are you?
No, like after like when I did that Hyrox competition, it's been about 2 years ago, and the reason why I haven't done anything like that since is because I tore an abductor at that event. It hasn't fully healed just yet. I'm like 90% there. Like my next thing with as far as like physical wise, I'm going to become the world champion of Hyrox. And as far as
love it,
as far as I'm going to give myself a 4-year time frame with that because you know like the Olympics, like they train for 4 years and have at it. And that's what I'm going to do too. As far as for like personal and business wise, I'm going to dominate my field here. You know, like I don't like to consider it as like fitness or health or mindset like that. It's just winning in this game called life. I am going to teach and show many people how to do things how I did in the simplest form.
There you go. What I love about that, you've just this lagging thing I was talking about. You've just explained that perfectly because you're basically going to do the same things you've done to get yourself to where you are now, but it's slightly different. So you're like, right, I'm going to be the world champion. People who train for the Olympics train over a 4-year period. So I'm going to do that because it works. So you're just taking people who've done it before and you're like, I'm going to do that. And lots of people say these things, don't they? And you're like, you can kind of go, oh, okay, or whatever. But with you, it's like, yeah, you will.
Yeah,
you're not going to stop until you do, are you? So
right, like I was like, you know, 4 years later, like, oh wow, you did it. Yeah, I told you I was going to.
How did you do that? Because I said I would. Yeah,
it's like you know, it's like winning's in my DNA, and it's my responsibility to expose that and share it to my family.
Yep.
Share it to my community. And most importantly, share it to myself and continue to prove myself that you are a winner, you are a champion. And I'm not like when people say, oh, you're a cancer survivor, like, no, I'm a cancer champion. I have a 17-year winning streak and it's going to go on for a very long time. I'm not a survivor. I'm a champion.
And what do you
I
call
mean,
that?
you're now, and
Go on, James.
sorry,
What's that?
Pete, go on. Oh, I was just going to say, you're about just this, the way we're kind of wrapping this up now. You're about as far away now as is physically, as is physically, emotionally, mentally, everything possible from that 20-year-old who struggled up 14 stairs and,
Yeah.
nearly collapsed at the top of them. I mean, it must be, do you ever, I mean, I know when you spoke about that kind of near the start of the podcast, you got a bit choked up. I could see remembering vividly how you felt
Wow.
then. I mean, when you look back to, that 20-year-old barely making it up 14 stairs, I mean, it's absolutely incredible, isn't it? How far you've come. It's it's unrecognizable.
Yeah. Life's a beautiful struggle.
Stop coming out with all these things, mate. You've got to leave, like, at least some of us, other people have got to come out with some inspirational quote. You've got to leave some out there. But what do you call all this as well? Because you got your hashtag, haven't you? Easy Day Life.
Oh, the easy life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make every day an easy day. We have to do the hard things in order to make life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So make today an easy day.
There you go. There you go, everybody. We've got. You'll have to go back and listen just to that last 5 minutes because you can write all that stuff down, and then do something about it. So, just wrapping up here. Where can people find you? Because obviously you do online training and all that sort of stuff. So you can, it doesn't matter where people are listening from around the globe. Probably the universe actually will take it there because there's bound to be people outside of the world who want to train with you as well. Where can they find you? Where's the best place?
Yeah, you can go to theeasydaylife.com, or you can follow me on my social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Anthony W. Flores.
Excellent. Well, that's amazing. So, Anthony, honestly, thank you for. I mean, I've heard your story, obviously, but just hearing it here in the moment has been absolutely amazing. So thank you for coming on, James. Have you got any?
Thank you for having me.
That's all right. That's all right. Anytime. We'll talk to you in 4 years' time when we're on episode 500 and something or other, and you're a world champion.
Don't be surprised if it happens sooner though.
James, have you got any final thoughts?
No, just I mean, I've obviously sort of dipped in and out, throughout the podcast. I think it's been incredible. And I've just gone on and followed Anthony on Instagram and things, and pinged him a request on Facebook and stuff like that. So no, it's just great that like I say, before meeting you today, like an hour ago, I didn't know anything about you, and I feel that I've spent a fantastic hour with you and got to know you and heard your story, and it's been a real pleasure. And it's why we do this podcast, like. And my life, it sounds corny, it sounds stupid, but my life has probably shifted slightly in the last hour than it was an hour ago because of the things I've heard and the conversations we've had. It kind of, you meet people and they come into your life, and even if you spend an hour together, it just helps you look at things slightly differently, or appreciate things slightly more, or be aware and just think about things differently. So it's been a and it's a Thursday afternoon in October, and it's been fantastic. So thank you.
No, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your guys' time, your energy, and your attention.
Right, and everyone, introducing Paul, by the way, at the end of the podcast. He is here. Paul, have you got any final thoughts? This is Anthony, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, well, I just sometimes you just have to know when to shut up, don't you? And just let someone talk.
Are you talking to me?
I was just listening. You don't want to disturb a good book, do you? You don't.
No, exactly.
To put your hands up and go, "Excuse me, can I ask a question?" I just kind of felt I just wanted to hear what you had to say.
So anyway, have you got any final thoughts?
No. Sometimes you just got to listen to people, haven't you?
All right, hey, fair enough. Cool. All right. Well, that was, what was that, James? 167, wasn't it?
167. Yeah, 167.
It was, yeah. So, no, thanks for listening, honestly. This is one I'll be going back and listening to again, definitely. So, yeah, please, wherever you are listening, if you can leave a review, please leave us a review with 5 stars against it and all that sort of stuff, because obviously, you know, especially for this one, we deserve that. And yeah, you can follow us on Facebook. There's the Facebook group as well. On Instagram, it's all Health Oddity. Yeah, please give us a like and share. YouTube as well. Please subscribe on YouTube. I forgot to mention that at the start, because you can watch these on YouTube. There's also the website, healthoddity.com, which James is promising that is going to be all singing and all dancing, but I keep telling him to steady on because it's me who's got to sort that out. And I've got no idea what I'm doing with it, but there you go. Yeah, so thank you. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you next week for, we'll be talking to Phil McDougall, won't we? Again, so all the way from San Francisco, if we get the timing right. Because that's another thing, by the way. Thank you, Anthony, because I thought it was 10 a.m. your time, but it turns out it's 8 a.m. your time. So Anthony moved a whole load of stuff around within about 50 minutes this morning to make it here. So, you know, that's because he's got his head in the game and he knows what he's doing. So thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah, don't worry. I've organised next week, so the timing's all sorted out. It's fine.
Yeah, that was my bad. I'll take full responsibility for that.
It's all good. We made it happen. It's all good.
Exactly. So thank you all for listening. We appreciate you all, and we shall see you next week.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett, and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.